Countdown to Election Day. Big early voting turnout as New Yorkers pick a new mayor and New Jersey voters pick a governor. The Point starts right now. This is the third time Republican Jack Ciattarelli has run for governor of New Jersey. He's hoping that this time is the charm. He joins us from South Jersey. So, Mr. Ciattarelli, I have to ask you this question. Steve Fulop, who you may remember, ran for governor as the current mayor of Jersey City, said, and I quote, "If Trump wasn't in the White House, Ciattarelli would be up by 12 or 15 points. Do you think that's true? And what's the Trump factor in terms of this race in New Jersey?"
First, Marcia, let me say I'm in Central Jersey because there is a Central Jersey.
Okay.
Listen, I couldn't disagree with the mayor more. The president's done some really good things for New Jersey. The halting the wind farms off the Jersey Shore, beating up on New York Democrats over their congestion pricing plan. The big, beautiful bill puts $4,000 to $5,000 more in the pockets of the average middle-class family here in New Jersey. And by the way, when you compare his 20 performance versus his 24 performance in New Jersey, he was up by 10 points. That means there's 300,000 more people today that feel differently about the president than they did back in 2020. We found out that having his support has generated momentum, particularly amongst the base.
So let me ask you this. If you were to win and become governor, I know you're going to say when you win, but if you were to win, could you describe the New Jersey you would want to leave at the end of a 4 or 8 year term?
Certainly one that's more affordable by lowering taxes and lowering electricity bills. Certainly one where the public education system is serving our students better. And certainly one that is safe again. Nonviolent crime has spiked in this state because of cashless bail and handcuffing our police in so many different ways. We want safe communities.
But how exactly do you plan to make New Jersey more affordable? Your opponent talks about things like universal child care and things like that. Are those things that you would consider, or are there other ways that you would make it more affordable for the average New Jersey resident?
Marcia, it took 238 years for us to get to a $36 billion budget. In 8 years' time, Phil Murphy and the Trenton Democrats, with the support of my opponent, in terms of the policies that were implemented, went from $36 billion to $59 billion, a 64% increase. I will very responsibly and surgically reduce the size and cost of our state government to lower income taxes for individuals and businesses. And with a new school funding formula, I can lower property taxes. Those are three things that we have to do. It's my primary motivation in running. It's my primary objective in serving.
But that is a really, really big promise. Lowering income taxes in the state of New Jersey and lowering property taxes, which has been like the third rail of almost every gubernatorial campaign that I have ever covered.
Hey, Marcia, in Pennsylvania, the top income tax bracket is 3%. Ours is nearly 11. How is it they can do it and we can't? On average, a home pays $3,000 less in property tax in Pennsylvania than New Jersey. How is that? We can do this. Other states do. We can too. We just need the right kind of leadership.
I guess the big question is, where do you think you're going to find the waste? Where are you going to find the things that you can do without so that you can have the money and the bandwidth to lower taxes?
It's a bloated, inefficient state government that doesn't serve its people well. I've got desktop systems in some state departments that are operating on DOS. Now, you and I are of an age that we remember what the hell DOS is.
We do.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Our systems are antiquated. The way we go about doing our business doesn't make any sense. And by growing the economy, by having a pro-business governor, I can produce more revenue, not by raising rates, by growing the base. It's exactly what we're going to do.
But you also talk about affordability, which is like the most important issue to people who live in New Jersey. And one of the things that your opponent has raised is the high price of electricity, which has gone up exponentially over the last year. She says she's going to declare an energy freeze. I wonder, what's your solution to raising energy costs, lowering energy costs?
First of all, the only specific we've gotten from my opponent is this declaration of a state of emergency on day one to freeze energy rates at an all-time high. There are 77 incumbent Democratic legislators, 52 of which are on the ballot this year. Not one has endorsed your plan. And even the governor of her own party went on TV and said, I don't think you can do that. You can't. Here's what I'm going to do on day one. I'm going to pull us out of Reggie. The Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative is a cap and trade carbon tax policy that has failed New Jersey. By pulling out on day one, I can reduce your monthly electric bill on day one and aggregately save $300 to $500 million a year for homeowners, tenants, and businesses. It's exactly what I plan on doing.
But isn't the cost of power in New Jersey and many other states in the Northeast, isn't it awfully high because it's very difficult to deliver the electricity that people use?
Marcia, look, make no mistake, it's high in New Jersey because we don't produce enough. When Phil Murphy took office, we produced more than we needed. We exported electricity. Today, we have to import it through these exchanges, and we're paying through the nose. Why? Because he shut down every form of fossil fuel generated electricity and bet it all on wind. And here we are almost 8 years later, there's not a single wind turbine off our Jersey shore producing electricity. And under Governor Ciattarelli, there won't be. It's not a cost-effective, reliable means of producing electricity.
So how do you want to do it? How are you going to get more power into New Jersey?
Very simply, I'm going to reopen and repurpose the 6 plants he shut down. I'm going to lift the moratorium on natural gas-fired electricity generation plants. I'm going to expand nuclear in South Jersey. I'm going to accelerate solar on the rooftops of all the warehousing that's out there. And my goal is, by the end of the first term, we will be energy independent again here in New Jersey.
But there are a lot of environmentalists that might say that your plan is not environmentally advantageous to the state. How do you feel about that?
We've got 3 nuclear power plants in South Jersey that produce 40% of electricity, 0 carbon emissions. I'm putting the shovel in the ground on day one of a 4th one. But natural gas is a clean option here during this rational transition period to the future. But we have to compete. The Democratic governor of Pennsylvania is burning 7 coal-burning plants. Natural gas, like there's no tomorrow, just cut the ribbon on a new nuclear reactor, and he's getting economic development opportunities and job opportunities that we're not. So I want to compete.
So if they can do it in Pennsylvania, and they're doing it in Pennsylvania, why haven't Jersey lawmakers to this point seen this as something that they should do and adopted it?
Because Phil Murphy and my opponent have adopted an irrational green energy plan that makes no sense. It just doesn't make sense. And so, and the irony of irony is our clean air goes out over the Atlantic. Guess what air we're breathing? The air that comes from Pennsylvania, where they're burning 7 coal-burning plants.
You know, it's really interesting that you're bringing this up because there was a big development in this area when the head of Microsoft, Bill Gates, the former head, decided to reverse his policies about climate change and saying he had said that climate change is going to destroy the world. And now he's saying, no, it's not. So does that send a message to environmentalists that maybe they have been wrong and they should adopt what you're talking about?
I'll say this, Marcia. I do believe Mother Earth is sending us some powerful signals. I do believe human activity contributes to the warming of the planet. But that doesn't mean we don't need a rational plan going forward. What Phil Murphy did with the support of my opponent, and she's doubled down. She's saying she wants those wind farms off the Jersey shore, and she doesn't support fossil fuel generation of electricity. We need a rational plan. I'm not going to burn coal, but my goodness, natural gas, nuclear, solar on the rooftops of warehousing all make perfect sense to me.
So, Mr. Ciattarelli, I got to ask you this question. Why should people trust you when it seems to be there's been a trend in this country, at least in the metropolitan area, where people don't like politics as usual, which may be why Zohran Mamdani has been so popular here in New York City. So the question is, why should they trust you and not look for a new face?
Here's why, and this is what differentiates me from my opponent. The Ciattarellis have been here for 100 years. 3 generations of Ciattarellis have all achieved their American dream here in New Jersey. I'm an MBA CPA, pretty unique educational background for a gubernatorial candidate, and I've served at every level of government inside New Jersey, municipal, county, and legislative, terminating myself each time. I didn't even take the salary or the benefits at the state, at the municipal and county level. I know what's going on, Marcia, and I put forth very specific proposals on how to fix New Jersey. My opponent has not.
How are you going to fix New Jersey Transit?
We're going to reevaluate every line. I mean, there's some tough decisions that need to be made for sure. But as a sprawl state, I will tell you, transit can't be all things to all people everywhere. We're going to reevaluate every single line, and every train line and every bus line that doesn't have adequate ridership is going to get a reevaluation so we can pour the limited funds we have towards the routes that serve the greatest number of commuters.
We only have 30 seconds left, but I have to ask you this question. Why not adopt a funding system like the MTA, which has a lot of different taxes, like a mortgage recording tax, a stock transfer tax, et cetera, even a 0.25% of the sales tax to fund the MTA? Why doesn't NJ Transit do that?
Marcia, we do have a dedicated revenue stream. It's called the state budget. All you need is a governor who's going to set a different set of priorities. In the last 24 months, we've got more than $2 billion in pet pork projects. I'm not going to be in the business of putting up a French art museum in one town and putting down turf fields in high schools for high schools in other towns. Those are decisions made by the locals. I'm getting back to the basics for state government. You know what that is: public health and safety, public education, and infrastructure.
Jack Ciattarelli, good luck on the race, and I hope we'll see you back soon. We'll have to leave it right there for now, but up next, the man with the trademark red beret, Curtis Sliwa, and the New York City mayor's race. A number of people have asked Curtis Sliwa to drop out of the mayor's race, but the toughest nail street fighter is still in it, and he says to win it. So I have to ask you this question. In the last few days, we've had a lot of rain, and it points to problems with infrastructure and our sewers and other things. If you're elected mayor, what would you do?
First thing, what used to happen, because I'm the only real New Yorker born here, is we used to have the catch basins, the sewers clean once a month. By then, the Department of Sewers. You remember Ed Norton from the Honeymooners? He was down in the sewers. They don't do that anymore.
What are you going to do if you're mayor?
Well, immediately, all the catch basins get cleaned up from the Department of Environmental Protection.
How difficult is that to do?
Because that's where the flooding is. I stopped right on the West Side Highway yesterday where the flooding always is. You see it in my videos. You could predict where all the flooding is going to be because it is the overflow from the sewers.
So if they know that this happens all the time, why hasn't it been done now?
Well, very good. De Blasio didn't do it. Obviously, Eric Adams hasn't done it. I will do that because these are the basics that you have to do as a mayor. By the way, Rudy Giuliani, who has endorsed me because I'm Giuliani 2.0 on 2.0. Remember all the snowstorms we used to have before global warming and climate change? But the one thing that Rudy always had was his commissioners dredge the catch basins and sewers, which are imperative. It's not being done now. You know exactly where the flooding is going to take place every time we get these torrential downpours. I
want to ask you about Mayor Adams. On Friday, he said that he was going to provide the funding for 5,000 new cops, which actually can't come online until next summer, I think the beginning of the fiscal year, July 1st, which will mean that there's a different mayor, you know, and whoever that turns out to be, you or somebody else. How do you feel about that? And why do you think he's trying to do this now when he could have done it in his last budget and had it go into effect this year?
Of course. And remember, he's the one who found $7 billion for the migrants that we didn't even know.
But let's talk about the cops.
Right.
How do you feel about his decision?
Well, first off,
here, with the campaign almost over, he's now saying, I found the money to hire 5,000 cops over the next several years.
Great. Knock us to you, Eric Adams, for finally waking up and not going to a club to the break of dawn and wanting to hire cops. But this is the problem. Retention and recruitment. They don't have that qualified immunity, which, as you know, I took time in both debates to explain.
But wait a second. Let's cut to the chase. Can he actually do this? Can he say, I'm going to hire more cops and impose it on whoever becomes mayor, whether it's you, Andrew Cuomo, or Zohran Mamdani?
Well, he found $7 billion for migrants. He didn't have to get the okay for city council. So I'm sure that Eric Adams, knowing Eric Adams, he's got to...
The point is this. The point is this. Are you going to be saddled with his plan? Is Zohran Mamdani going to be saddled with his plan?
Well, it's not saddled. I want 7,000 cops, so I'll have an additional 2,000 cops by taxing the universities for properties that they have that are not being used for educational purposes. NYU, Columbia, and Jimmy Dolan, his very dear friend who pays no property tax. Jimmy, start paying your fair share so we can hire cops.
So let me ask you this question, though. If you don't win, and right now the polls say that the leader is Zohran Mamdani, he wants to defund police. So if he comes in and he takes a look at this plan that the mayor has put in place, what's the chances that Zohran Mamdani keeps this plan and hires 5,000 more cops?
Well, what's the chance that people are going to want to join the police department with Zoran Mandami in charge as mayor? That's the bigger issue. So, again, I go back to retention and recruitment. If the police are not insured with qualified immunity, they're not going to be joining. They need to be protected like all of the civil servants. I'm the only candidate saying give them the insurance back so that they will not be personally sued.
I guess the question also comes to mind is this. What do you make of the fact that in the last several weeks, the mayor has been trying to do things which he thinks is going to impact what other people could do? Like Zoran Mandani says he's going to freeze rents. The mayor wants to appoint new people to the Rent Guidelines Board that could stop that. On Thursday, he gave a speech on anti-Semitism, sort of implying that Zoran Mandani wasn't gung-ho in terms of supporting the state of Israel. And Friday, he says, I'm going to appoint 5,000 more cops, even though Zoran Mandani says, I'm going to defund the cops. What's going on there? And do you think that's something a mayor who's leaving office should be doing?
Well, we all know that if Eric Adams had been a halfway decent mayor, it would have been round two this time around. It would have been the Democratic incumbent, Eric Adams, versus the Republican, Curtis Sliwa, like in 2021. He's the reason there's Zoran Mandami. He should have been in jail with Bobby Menendez. And then they resurrect the political zombie, Andrew Cuomo, a failed governor, and they bring him back. And naturally, he gets wiped out in a Democratic primary. They are the two reasons that there is Zoran Mandami.
So do you think that the mayor is trying to make it more difficult for whoever becomes mayor?
I don't know what games Eric Adams is playing. He's one and done. The price was right for him to bow out. So, look, knock yourself out, Eric Adams. I hope when you leave, you're doing good things for the city, because you were a complete catastrophe and disaster as mayor of New York City.
So I want to talk about experience. You've been around the city an awful long time, but you've never run a government. You've never had elected office. So if you have no experience, what makes you think that you can handle a budget of over $100 billion?
Oh, thank God I don't. Thank God I'm not a professional politician. Look at what de Blasio did, the professional politician. Cuomo, he had to flee Albany because of impeachment. Look at Eric Adams. He should be in jail. Thank God I'm not the professional politician, but I will have men and women who are experts in the field, because I'm not all-knowing, omnipotent, and they will give me the guidance to make the right decision. You see, one thing I am is a good listener. That's why I'm in the subways every day, because you can't talk in the subways. You know how New Yorkers are, Marcia. They do the talking, whether they're friends or foes or they're inquisitors. You listen to the best, the brightest, and you implement their ideas and suggestions at a limited cost to the taxpayers.
So you have run before for mayor. I wonder, in one sentence, why should New Yorkers give you a chance this time?
Well, you're asking me a lot to truncate it, right, to what the one said. Why?
Because 2 sentences.
Because I'm the only genuine New Yorker, born here. They try to kill me here. I'll die here. I'll be buried here. I've served the people for 46 years, and I've asked nothing in return. And everybody loves Curtis. See, the commentator, like everybody loves Raymond. Everybody loves Curtis. Now I have to get them to vote for me. And the people are going to choose the next mayor, not the billionaires, not the insiders, and not the influencers. They failed every step of the way.
That was about 10 sentences, but I'm going to give you that, okay? We're going to leave it right there for now, but our conversation continues right after the show on our streaming channel, CBS News New York. Thank you for joining me. Top tech companies are going all in on artificial intelligence, spending billions on the AI race. What do New Yorkers think about it? Well, they're weighing in on your point. Do you use AI in your daily life?
Oh, absolutely not.
No, not at all. I stay away from it.
No. Vehemently opposed.
Yes, because when you Google something, you're using AI without knowing.
Today I did use it and translating about my art, so it is very useful.
As a student, I like to take a sentence and make sure I've said it in the best way possible.
Well, we're actually an AI startup, me and this guy. So we use AI to prevent medication errors in pharmacies.
Well, I try not to.
Why not?
I don't trust it.
I don't trust it. I want my brain to work. I don't want somebody else to think for me.
It's lazy, it's boring. It's never better than something that I could make.
Excuse me.
The news? Hold on, I'm going to call you back.
Do you use AI in your daily life?
No, not really.
How come?
because I'm not really into that. I don't believe it's good for the environment.
I'm very suspicious about it.
How concerned are you that AI might take your job?
Not.
Why not?
I'm in the arts, dancer, singer.
I'm very concerned, but I'm only a student right now, so I'm not so worried.
I'm not very concerned because I don't really have a job.
Yes, big time.
Why?
I mean, have you seen the robot that walks around in Manhattan, the dog robot? Yeah, no, I don't like that.
I think you're probably going to lose your job to someone using AI, so, you might want to jump in early.
I work as a guide in a museum. I think that if AI can explain what I explain to my guests, I think that it may.
I'm a cook, so it's not a concern for me.
I'm a piano teacher, and they're not going to take my job, sorry.
Oh, I'm a handyman.
So he's not going to take your job?
I mean, not for a while, not until I'm probably retired.
What, if anything, should lawmakers do about AI?
Lawmakers, I think that they should restrict AI, especially for kids.
Children using it is a big concern and dampening their cognitive abilities.
Nothing. I think lawmakers should stop doing anything at all. I think we should deregulate.
Well, learn about it first before they do anything, and just keep a very close watch on it. See how people are making money from it and why.
You're going to have to bring in ethicists. You just can't do it by laws because there's just something creepy about the thing.
Lawmakers need to make sure that there can't be replicas of people that become so real and true that people are confused as to what actual reality is.
Imagine the world being revolved around robots. Will you like that? Like, I like me and you talking instead of a robot talking to me. It might malfunction during the conversation or something.